Hello everyone, Namaskaram. Welcome to the online education IAS platform. I am Anjali Sisodia. Welcome to the content enrichment program. Today we will discuss about the Polity My Current Affairs Part 1. Here are some articles which I have sorted out. जैसे कि कुछ आर्टिकल्स थे जो आपके डायनेमिक में भी काम आते हैं और स्टैटिक्स में भी काम आते हैं, राइट? सो हियर आर सम आर्टिकल्स विच आई हैव सॉर्टेड आउट फ्रॉम द डायनेमिक पोर्शन. लाइक फर्स्ट आर्टिकल इज लिम्स. लिम्स आप सभी ने पढ़ा होगा, बट दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द अपकमिंग प्रीलिम्स 2020 as UPSC has a tendency to ask about the acronyms, right? So LIMS, we will see what it is. It is ये आपका एक वेब बेस्ड पोर्टल है that is being developed by Ministry of Law and Justice. आप किसी भी कोई भी एक्रोनिम या कोई भी स्कीम पढ़ते हैं तो आप उसकी मिनिस्ट्री पे ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं, राइट? सो हियर ऑल्सो यू नीड टू फोकस अपॉन द मिनिस्ट्री, राइट? एंड व्हाट इज़ लिम्स? लिम्स आपका जुडिशल पेंडेंसी ऑफ केसेस जो आपके बढ़ रहे हैं उसको डील करने के लिए एक पोर्टल बनाया गया है जो कि वेरियस कोर्ट केसेस ऑफ गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट और मिनिस्ट्रीज़ को हेल्ड करेगा, राइट? It will help authorities to take data-driven decision making and to evaluate performance of various stakeholders and to conduct legal audit. Now, one extra information I need to share the fact that is five states that have the highest pendency of cases in India. So, which are they? They are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Bihar, and Gujarat. This of course is not important from the prelims point of view, but obviously you can use this fact in the upcoming mains, right? Now we'll proceed again. The next article is fast track course. So why I am here telling you about the fast track course? Because there was a study by the National Law University of Delhi in which they have said that in India fast track courts are rising, they are increasing in number. So there is a need to tell you about fast track courts. So first of all, you need to know that when it was established in 2000 to expeditiously dispose of long pending cases. So here you need to remember that both the articles limb and this fast track court we have dealt with the judiciary, right, with the law system of India. तो ये दोनों ही आपको रिमेंबर रखने हैं बिकॉज ये फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स के आपके स्टेटमेंट्स आ सकती हैं because it was established on the recommendation of 11th finance commission. So finance commission का भी जिक्र है यहाँ पे. And one more thing कि they can be established by the state government in consultation with the respective high court. So this is important. Like UPSC will give two statements and they will ask which one is correct, right? So आपको ये कब बना था? 2000 में बना था, ये याद रखना है. किसके रिकमेंडेशन पे बना था? 11th फाइनेंस कमीशन के रिकमेंडेशन पे बना था. कौन बना सकता है? स्टेट गवर्नमेंट बना सकती है इन कंसल्टेशन विद द रिस्पेक्टिव हाई कोर्ट्स. ओके. एंड इसके एक और चीज़ है कि मैटर कंसर्निंग मैटर्स भी इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं क्योंकि अक्सर हम सोचते हैं कि फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट है तो मतलब पॉलिटिक्स का होगा या फैमिली का होगा, राइट? सो आपके मैटर्स भी इंपॉर्टेंट है लाइक सेक्सुअल ऑफेंसेस, एंटी करप्शन, रियॉट्स एंड चेक बाउंसिंग. ये इसलिए बिकॉज फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स आर मेजरली एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन द सिटीज़, राइट, टीयर 2 एंड टीयर 3 और सिटीज़. सो हियर मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स रियॉट से भी आ जाती हैं, राइट? एंटी करप्शन भी होता है, चेक बाउंसिंग भी होता है, सेक्सुअल ऑफेंसेस भी होते हैं. सो बेसिकली दीज ऑल प्रॉब्लम्स विच आर रिलेटेड टू द अर्बन सिटीज आर बीइंग डेल्ट बाय द फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट्स एंड द जजेस फॉर दीज वर अपॉइंटेड ऑन एन एडहॉक बेसिस सेलेक्टेड बाय द हाई कोर्ट्स ऑफ द रिस्पेक्टिव स्टेट्स. बिकॉज ये तो है, ये तो होगा ही बिकॉज state government will establish these in consultation with the respective high courts, and the judges to deal with fast track courts are being selected by the high court themselves of the respective states, right? One more thing that is very very important is no central funding to FTCs after 2011. This is very very important. You need to remember this fact because they will confuse you by giving the statement that both state and center funding is given to the FTCs, but you need to remember that there is no central funding. However, the state government can establish FTC from their own funds, right? Now we have seen that it was established by the 11th finance commission, right? Now the 14th finance commission, it urged the state governments to utilize the enhanced devolution of central taxes from 32% to 42% for setting up of 1800 FTGs, right? What happened? We all are aware about the fact that 14th Finance Commission has had done the devolution of central taxes from 32% to 42%. So what it urged, it told the state government, it was a request that this devolution can be used in setting up of 1800 FTGs, right? And there are some fast track cases which you can obviously quote in your mains answer writing, but not in the prelims they're going to ask. They are like Best Bakery case, Jessica Lal murder case, 26 by 11 Mumbai case. Yes, it's surprisingly in that 26 by 11 Mumbai case is being dealt by the fast track court, right? However, questions have been raised over the slow and inefficient working of FTGs since inception. Close to around 39 lakh cases were transferred to the FTGs, out of which only 6.5 lakh cases are still pending with the FTCs. So, why I'm telling you this? Because here I have given you two or three facts that you can quote in your mains when if the question is regarding fast track courts, right? So this you can say it about efficiency of fast track court, that is in spite of making the fast track courts to deal with the justice, to expeditiously dispose of the long pending cases, it is unable in its working. Like since inception, 39 lakh cases were transferred to the FTGs, and out of which 6.5 cases are still pending with FTG. So what it shows, the inefficiency, the unaccountability, and maybe some corruption may be there. Now, the next article is Election Commission of India. So, why this I have given this? Why I have this given? Because we knew that recently the 17th Lok Sabha general elections were held in May. So, this body is important because I think because the year is we are going 1 year back, and May 2019, this is the month which many candidate may neglect. So these are the some important stuff which I think you need to focus upon. Okay, so this is Election Commission of India. So this body was in majorly in news, like they have given we have model code of conduct to deal with the elections, but ECI was unable to cope with the violation of model code of conduct, because despite giving warning against the violation, the political parties were doing whatever they wanted, like announcement of India's first anti-satellite. Because we all know that we had a set test in the election period only. Okay, transfer of top officials, then VVPAT audits, violation of model code of conduct by Rajasthan governor. So these are some examples which shows the that in spite of violation, the ECI, this body was unable to cope with the violation, unable to cope with the circumstance, right? So we will discuss this body for the prelims point of view. First of all, you need to remember the article. UPC directly ask the article. Okay, so you need to know something about it, which body is concerned of it, and which is the working behind that article. So it's direct that ECI is comes under article 324. It was established in accordance with the constitution on 25th January 1950 में इसकी स्थापना हुई थी. अब ECI क्या करता है? It has the powers of superintendence, direction and conduct of elections to the. This is very very important. You need to remember that ये elections किस किस के देखता है? ये आपके पार्लियामेंट के देखता है, स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर्स के देखता है, प्रेसिडेंट का देखता है, और ऑफिस ऑफ वाइस प्रेसिडेंट का देखता है. Only 4 are there, right? You need to remember this: parliament, state legislature, office of president and vice president. Now, originally it had only one chief election commissioner. We all knew about it. I've read in Lakshmikant also. But currently it has consists of chief election commissioner and two other election commissioners. This is also highly debated that the powers are not evenly distributed between all of these three. So this is another topic. Now, Parliament has been empowered to make provisions with respect to all matters related to elections. Now, this is also important because we had our 17th Lok Sabha elections recently last year. So, this question can be asked directly that whether Parliament has been empowered to make provisions with respect to all matters relating to elections, because we all know that we eliminate the facts and figures with these extreme statements. Okay, so here it is all matters relating to elections. So you need to memorize it or do whatever, because you need to learn about it, that Parliament has been empowered and Parliament can take decisions on all matters relating to elections. This is very, very important. Now, however, the ECI can also take necessary measures under Article 324 to ensure free and fair elections. This is also correct, because in spite of ECI, the Parliament is the authority that has been empowered. Okay, so ECI is itself doing very well. Now, this program I have given to keep in mind that this program अभी तक पूछा नहीं गया है ये program. So I think this program can be asked in the upcoming prelims. So they can directly ask you, okay, कि sweep program is related to which body, or which they will give you examples like elections and all that, rural government or rural development, local bodies. So this sweep program will see its primary goal is to build a truly participative democracy. तो कभी कभार क्या होता है ना, सी समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपन्स कि डायरेक्टली स्टेटमेंट्स आ जाती हैं किसी भी प्रोग्राम पे या किसी भी टॉपिक पे, एंड वी टेंड टू कंफ्यूज इट बाय सीइंग द स्टेटमेंट्स, बिकॉज हमें लगता है कि इतनी डायरेक्टली नहीं होंगी, राइट. अब स्वीप प्रोग्राम एवरी वन ऑफ अस माइट बी नोइंग कि इट इज़ रिलेटेड टू ECI, बट अगर ऐसी कोई स्टेटमेंट आ जाएगी, ट्रूली पार्टिसिपेटिव डेमोक्रेसी इन इंडिया बाय एनकरेजिंग ऑल एलिजिबल सिटीजन्स and to vote and make an informed decision during the elections. ठीक है, apart from these to vote and make an informed decision during elections, apart from this, if these statements come only, like truly participate democracy in India by encouraging all eligible citizens, so what will you do? You get confused, right? And you will eliminate the statement that this is wrong, because we have just focused upon the voting process कि भाई vote कैसे होता है, sweep program क्या करता है, but we haven't talked about the truly participative democracy propaganda in India, right? So this is important. You need to check the direct definitions or direct statements from the websites, from the ministry websites, right? So this statement I have directly taken out from that website, ECI website, right? The program is based on multiple general as well as targeted interventions which are designed according to the socio-economic, cultural, demographic profile of the state, as well as the history of electoral participation in various rounds of elections and learning them. So what the statement is saying, the program जो ये जो स्वीप प्रोग्राम है, it will focus upon the socio-economic condition, cultural and demographic profile of the state, as well as the historical electoral participation. What does this historical electoral participation means? Like अगर कोई village है, ठीक है, village है and it has the participation, voting participation percentage at 20%, and out of this 20% only females are only 8 to 9%, right? So if we focus because of this program, if we implement this program on that village and we focus this program to improve the female participation as well as the overall participation, so this program, the village will be benefited from this program, right? So you need to see the that definitions यूं ही नहीं बना दी जाती है कि बड़े बड़े स्टेटमेंट्स या बड़ी बड़ी टर्म्स या बड़ी बड़ी लाइंस डाल दी जाए. उसके अंदर अगर आप जाके देखोगे तो यू विल टेंड टू रियलाइज द बेसिक रियलिटी ऑफ अवर कंट्री, ऑफ अवर विलेजेस, ऑफ अवर सिटीज़, कि उसको देख के ही आपके डेफिनेशंस के अंदर डाला जाता है. ओके, सो व्हाट विल इट डू? इट विल फोकस अपॉन द सोशो इकोनॉमिक, कल्चरल, डेमोग्राफिक एज वेल एज हिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्टोरल पार्टिसिपेशन. ये 4 चीज़ें हैं जो आपको याद रखनी है, बिकॉज ये डायरेक्टली स्टेटमेंट में पूछी जा सकती हैं. ओके, तो हम कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे बिकॉज स्वीप प्रोग्राम सिर्फ हम वोटिंग के पर्पज से याद रख रहे हैं. सो इन दिस I told you, like truly participative democracy you need to remember, and these 4 points you need to remember, right? Now, CAG. So CAG is something static topic, right? So why I have given here CAG? Because there was we had we have a Rafale fighter aircraft deal. The case was heard by Supreme Court, in which CAG report on a redactive pricing audit was given, and this report was the basis of Supreme Court's judgment on Rafale fighter aircraft, right? So from that context, the CAG comes in the picture. So you need to remember the first of all the articles. right? Article 148 and article 149 are related to CAG. So 140, it just say 148, it is CAG is mandated to audit all receipts and expenditure of the three tier governments in India. This is very very important, three tier governments in India, and report to the legislature judiciously, independently, objectively, in compliance with applicable laws, rules and regulations, without fear and favor. So what is this article 148 saying? It is it mandates all the all it is mandated to audit all receipts and expenditures, right? So here ये याद रखना है आपको कि थ्री टीयर गवर्नमेंट इन इंडिया, थ्री टीयर गवर्नमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा ही इम्पॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज वी डू नॉट टेंड टू रिकॉल द फैक्ट दैट हमें लगता है कि ये कैग है तो सिर्फ अपर इंस्टीट्यूशंस पे ही लगेगा, राइट? So three tier government is the point that UPSC can confuse you upon, right? And what is article 149? It is the constitution empowers the parliament, here also it is empowers the parliament to prescribe duties and powers of the CAG, and accordingly the CAG's duties, powers and conditions of service in 1971 was enacted. The parliament is empowered to decide duties and powers of the CAG. So remember that it is the parliament, not the central government, because sometimes some students think that whenever any political party comes to power, it changes the head of each and every institution, right? So ECI, CAG, they are independent institution. So although the heads are appointed by some authority like president, or if in some cases president, in some cases the uppermost judicial organ, but here you need to remember that the parliament is empowered for the duties and powers, because the CAG institution has been mentioned in the constitution, right? Now the secret service expenditure is a limitation on the auditing role of the CAG. The secret service expenditure, this is a direct statement, but I don't think that it can come in the prelims, but still I've given you that the secret service expenditure is a limitation on the auditing role of the CAG. The CAG cannot call for particulars of expenditure incurred by the executive agencies, but has to accept a certificate from the competent administrative authority that the expenditure has been so incurred under his authority, and CAG submits. Here two things are important, right? First is the parliament has been empowered to prescribe the duties and powers of CAG. Second is the three tier government. And the third is the CAG submits its report to the president. This is very, very, very important because here we have all the starting from P's, right? President, parliament. So you need to think upon that. CAG submits its report to the president, and parliament has the authority to prescribe the duties and powers of the CAG, and CAG is mandated to audit all receipts and expenditure of the three tier government, right? Now here I have shared the definition of reductive pricing audit. It is a selection or adaptation of obscuring or removing sensitive information. Sensitive, you need to remember this sensitive information from a document prior to publication, because this was the case that was going in the Supreme Court about the Rafale fighter aircraft deal, that some sensitive information has been omitted or taken out from the document from the prior to its publication. So it is just a general definition so that you can relate the institution, the CAG, to the case. This is points to remember, as I told you कि that मई के जो करंट अफेयर रहेंगे वो मैं आपको यहाँ शेयर कर दूंगी, बट स्टिल if I don't found anything extra, so I'll add something for my own, right? So these are points to remember, like UPSC can ask in one pointers, like so first point is ki ban on niqab in Sri Lanka, ban on niqab in Sri Lanka. This is what is niqab word be directly push can be asked, right? What is niqab? It is the face covering worn by some Muslim women. In some countries it is still is practicing and is still practiced. So Sri Lanka has been the this country, Sri Lanka has been the country last year to ban the on niqab, right? Then second is sovereign internet law of Russia. Russia has become the country to has its own country's internet independent. Russia has become the country to have its own sovereign internet law, right? So it will not depend upon other countries' GPS or other countries' satellite information or other countries' internet. Third is, this is important, this is really really important, because UK Parliament declared a climate change emergency, and UK is the bigger has become the first country in the world to do so. So in this era, there are many changes happening due to climate change. So this is the thing which every international organization is focusing their discussion upon, on the climate change emergency, right? So UK has become the first country in the world to declare the climate change emergency. The question can be, this climate change emergency can be asked in statement also, right? Ki, they can give you a definition of climate change emergency, but you need to uh, remember that there is no single definition, but it is just a term which can be related to that we want to be carbon neutral by 2030. So this can be a relative term from person to person, from country to country, or from organization to organization. So this is not having a specific definition. So these were the points, and I need to request you all that share it as far as you can, so that the needy person can be benefited from this initiative. And please do subscribe, share a lot. Thank you.